Welcome to Policy on Demand. I'm Sindhu, Blume. One new proposal that is gaining a lot of attention is the Section 899 provision in the House-passed Big Beautiful Bill, which is now making its way in the Senate. Section 899 would provide new retaliatory measure to address certain foreign taxes that the U.S. government would deem to be unfair to U.S. companies. This provision, which some are calling a revenge tax, aims to impose higher tax rates starting at 5% and growing to 20% over time on the U.S. income of foreign companies operating in the United States and for foreign investors. The provision is also raising a lot of questions, which is why I'm pleased to be joined by Nita Asher, a principal in PwC's International Tax Services practice. Nita, it's great to see you. All right, Section 899 provision is gaining momentum as a hot topic, particularly in the financial markets. Is there a theme to the questions you're receiving from companies, and what's the greatest concern?
Thank you for having me, and thank you for that very thoughtful question. There is a theme that we're seeing. Companies, of course, don't want a negative impact on foreign investment in the U.S., and they were happy to see some clarification coming out of the House committee report in that Section 899 is not intended to apply to the portfolio interest exemption, which is an important mechanism to attract foreign investment in the United States and also enhance the U.S. financial markets. That particular footnote allows for other exemptions potentially to not be impacted by Section 899, but also clarifies or provides rather a distinction between exemptions under domestic law and a zero rate or an exemption under a treaty. And so we know that there are certain structures, investments into the U.S. that heavily rely on treaties. And so that is also something that companies are taken into account when they think about the potential impact of Section 899. Also in the financial space, we're getting a lot of questions regarding gross-up provisions in loan agreements to the extent a U.S. entity has borrowed from a bank that is resident in a discriminatory tax jurisdiction. We're encouraging companies to look at their loan agreements to see if there are change in law provisions and talking through what might need to be factored into the cost of borrowing because of the potential impact of Section 899. So there are a lot of questions that are coming in, and we're getting some clarification, like I said, in the legislative history, and we're looking to see what is going to come out from the Senate regarding the impact of Section 899 on foreign investment.
All right, and this next question, I know we're hearing a lot about this. Assuming the provision is not dropped, what are some of the improvements that might be made, and how are companies sorting out the challenges right now that they might be facing if this is enacted?
Companies are definitely taking a closer look at the potential impact of Section 899. They're doing modeling to see how the increase to the specified rates under the substantive tax rules, the withholding tax rules, and also the BEAT modifications might apply to their structure. They're also appreciating that Section 899 is intended to be a negotiation tool. And so they're using the modeling and their appreciation of the underlying intent to go talk to their tax authorities in helping with negotiations with respect to these so-called unfair taxes. And so I think as we wait to see what comes out of the Senate, there is this modeling the impact of the House-passed bill, also pulling together talking points to help with stakeholders, their questions on how Section 899 might impact, but also helping advocate, if you will, or assist with the negotiations, which are the underlying goal of Section 899.
The next question I'm about to ask you, I remember asking this a lot in 2017 with TCJA. What does implementation of Section 899 look like for Treasury as well as for the business community?
Yeah, so on the Treasury front, there's going to have to be quite a bit of work that goes into implementing and administrating Section 899. That's clearly already acknowledged in the House-passed bill. Some of the safe harbors that are provided with respect to withholding taxes. We also see an acknowledgement in another footnote in the House committee report. I think it's footnote 1537, which acknowledges that Treasury is going to maintain a registry, if you will, in order to inform withholding agents about jurisdictions that have these so-called unfair taxes, and it's going to be updated regularly to provide assistance with implementation and administration. It seems like a delay in effective dates, or even the delay that's already baked into Section 899, is an acknowledgement that there needs to be some time, not only for negotiations to occur, but actually for procedures to be put into place to help with the enactment and the application of Section 899. Companies, again, they're doing modeling. They're, of course, going to update any models based on the House-passed bill with whatever comes out of the Senate. And they're using that to talk to stakeholders and Treasury departments within their organizations to prepare for Section 899, both in assisting in pulling together material to help with the negotiations, but also, managing what is going to be the overall economic impact if Section 899 actually applies to their structures.
Nita, thanks so much for this. I really appreciate it. And I know we'll be having you back to talk about this again.
Thanks for having me.
And for our viewers, stay with Policy on Demand, as there is a lot more to come on the big, beautiful bill. Take care.